Now, Somalia has banned Dubai ports operator DP World from operating in Somaliland. The government argues that a contract the company signed last year with Somaliland to develop an economic zone is null and void. DP World said last week it had signed a final agreement with Somaliland to develop the zone and expected to break ground in the 12 square kilometer project later this year. Well, Abdulaziz Bilo joins us in the studio with more on this story to break it down further. Very welcome to the studio, Abdulaziz. Now, let's start with how does Somalia's federal government plan to enforce this ban against DP World, given the fact that Somaliland is now a semi-autonomous state?
Well, that's the litmus test now for President Farmajo's government. It's one of the biggest decisions that the current government that's in office for just 1 year has taken. Now, interesting is the fact that Somaliland has been an autonomous region for quarter a century. It's not something that happened yesterday. So the government has no jurisdiction yet in that area, but internationally it recognizes Somaliland as an as a federal member state out of the Somali federal structure system there in Somalia. Now, this deal has created mixed reactions in Somalia. The country's federal parliament met yesterday. 168 legislators voted down that deal by the port of Berbera to be upgraded by DP World. And what exactly happened is that a $442 million deal was quashed by the federal government because of the mere fact that DP World signed that agreement with Somaliland without the authorization of the federal parliament and also the federal government of Somalia. Now, what is making the Mogadishu angry is the fact that despite the fact that Somaliland is still a member of the federal member state, internationally recognized by the world, the UAE-based company decided to ignore the fact that there's a greater autonomy, greater authority other than Somaliland, that it can be able to come there and talk to them and agree to this deal. So Mogadishu is angry about that, and it has quashed that deal. So that deal, it has been termed null and void, and it also affects another port in Puntland known as Bosaso. It was recently secured. Puntland recently secured a deal to upgrade that port. But then again, it's not the first time that any foreign country is upgrading port in Somalia. The port of Mogadishu is being run by Al Bayrak. It's a Turkish company, but that company was authorized, was given the concession by the federal parliament. So that is where Mogadishu stands right now.
And very quickly, we haven't heard from DP World just yet, but Somalia's government does have the authority to enforce this ban.
Yes, definitely. Somalia has that authority, and one of the measures that it has put in place is, other than the parliament voting down that deal, it has sent a formal protest letter to the Arab League, which it is a member of. So they're trying to tell the Arab League that UAE, which is also a member of the Arab League, that they have interfered with Somalia's internal matters. They have violated Somalia's sovereignty by the mere fact that they're ignoring the federal authority in Mogadishu, even though it has no jurisdiction in Somaliland. So they're talking about the international boundary. So they want the Arab League to talk to UAE so that it can end the activities in Somalia there.
Now, have we seen similar setbacks for other companies trying to set up in Somaliland before?
No, this is the first and it's the biggest deal so far that is affecting Somalia and Somaliland, exactly, to be precise. So this deal is $442 million, and it not only involves the upgrading of the port of Berbera, it also involves the creation of a military base there that will be run and owned by the United Arab Emirates. That base itself created chaos in that region. We also had from Yemen. They recently threatened that they are going to attack that very same port if Somaliland gives the concession to the United Arab Emirates to upgrade that port and to create a military base that will be used in turn to attack that area. So Somalia's message is quite simple. The president, in a speech to the lawmakers in Mogadishu, said that they welcome investors. They welcome all sorts of investors. They are welcomed. But the fact that they must come to the right authorities using the right channel, talk to the Somali federal government, get the concession from the federal parliament, only then that they can invest in the country. And the government say that they actually welcome more foreign companies there. So Somaliland, the only thing that is different from the rest of Somalia is the fact that it's much stable. It's been stable for the past 25 years, and it's actually an area that is welcomed by investors.
Quite interesting, because Somaliland actually seems to be attracting a sizable investments, especially from the Gulf. Give us a sense of what's going on in that region now. There seems to be a lot of interest in terms of investment.
Exactly. It's the fact that it's more peaceful than southern Somalia is the fact that it's attracting and luring more foreign investors to come into that area. They've also recently secured a deal with Fly Dubai. They make direct flights from Hargeisa, that is the capital of Somaliland, all the way to the UAE. So we are seeing a lot of interest, especially by Gulf countries, especially to that area. And then again, there's the issue with Qatar. Somalia took a neutral stance regarding Qatar. Somaliland authorities said that they are in support of the Saudi-led coalition and also the UAE. So that is one of the reasons as to why we are seeing more Gulf interest in Somaliland, more especially from the United Arab Emirates. And this is one of the reasons as to why Mogadishu is getting very angry. And it's all about security, because there's so much investment opportunities in Somalia, owing to the fact that it's coming from years of instability. So it's a land of opportunity for many investors there, Uche.
Quite interesting. Well, many thanks, Abdulaziz, for joining us and for your insight. Of course, that was Abdulaziz Bilo, who, of course, is a CGTN correspondent.